everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and I'm in this bubble blastic moment because I want to tell you that I'm going to show you how you can create this gorgeous landscape from Yosemite. This is Yosemite Falls, and it is a beginner painting. I'm going to explain it step by step, all the color mixes, all the techniques, everything you need to know. So even if you're a first-time painter, you can follow along. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello, guys.
He is going to make sure that the energy stays fun and our Friday night fun night art vibe stays really groovy. That sounds so terrible, doesn't it?
Does it?
Groovy.
There are worse things than groovy.
There are worse. You know what? If 2020 has proven us anything, there are worse things than groovy. So let's go back to groovy.
Yeah.
Because that was super fun.
That's super good.
I'm doing, I don't know, my groovy moves. They're so awesome, aren't they?
Yep.
So we don't teach dancing, and luckily we don't do, well, I do dancing, but we don't teach singing. But you will see some dancing and singing just because I'm having a good time, and art is fun. I highly encourage you to express your inner happiness at home and your inner goof. It is an incredible relief after a week of keeping everything lidded down.
Mm-hmm.
So pop the lid, because we're going to get our goof on. We're going to let our goofy flags fly. But in that, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn how to paint this gorgeous national park. Now, this weekend has a theme. We got this new sort of series going where Friday night we do an easing painting, and then Saturday during the day we do a similar theme painting, but with more skills and techniques. And that way you can build on each of those and start to work out your own inner art skill box. Are you guys ready to check out this gorgeous painting?
I think we're ready.
Are they ready?
I'm ready.
Did you hear him?
I did.
Did we hear him from the cheap seats?
We don't have
All
any
the way
cheap
in the
seats.
back?
We don't have any cheap seats. They're all in the front row here.
They're all in the front row?
Everyone's in the front row. And you know what?
I have to believe somebody's vacuuming right now.
Kim just said...
that person was just in the middle of their vacuuming and went, did she just say I'm vacuuming? I just know that happens.
So Kim just said, not going to paint tonight, but totally wanted to come in and vibe with you. Big hearts and hugs and lots of patron support.
Thank you, Kim. For everyone who comes by, we actually really appreciate everybody who comes by and goes ahead and takes that leap to paint. But even if you're here just to chat, just to hang out, just to get social, because lately we're all a little estranged, that's perfectly okay too, because sometimes we just need to come and watch some art and chat with our friends. So all of that is completely all good. All right, I'm going to turn around.
Okay.
Right. There you go. So this is a nice look, the 3/4 look at our wonderful waterfall. This actually I did take from a reference photo. And what I did is I simplified this down so that tomorrow when we do these techniques in a more complicated way, you're going to be like, I kind of know what we're doing here. And this really is going to be very beginner friendly. I'm going to take this aside as my own personal reference. You guys are going to have picture in picture. Mm-hmm. And I have here a 9x12 art board. This is from Michael's. This is just an artist loft board. You can get these in packs. They're always on sale. They're always going out there super inexpensively. Compassion for Breonna Taylor and healing for her family. Jobs for those who are currently out of work.
It's wishes for our canvases.
Yeah, we got wishes. Yes. Also, we have wishes for safety for first responders, health workers, and at-risk humans.
We have so many good wishes out
also,
there today.
at-risk pets, too. At-risk pets, safety for all that. And honestly, a cure for this, that would be just amazing. A cure, a vaccine, something. And support for small businesses. I've been hearing from a lot of people wishing for support for their small businesses. So I definitely want to see that going out there. And then this last one speaks to me because I watch a lot of Netflix. Justice for the victims of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some justice. I'm a fan of it right after color mixing. But seriously, I would. I watched that whole Netflix documentary. I watch a lot of Netflix. If you're very brand new here, you should know. I watch a lot of Netflix.
Well, you know what? I have to say, you probably share that in common with probably 90% of America who's been trapped inside during this event that,
we've all been going through. Everyone but you. Everyone but you is watching Netflix. Everyone is finally with me, but everyone is with you. everyone used to be with you not watching Netflix. Now everyone is with me.
Yes,
So for tonight's painting, we've got these fabulous tools. If you were here Thursday night, there was a big mega class about fan brushes to make these more fun and more beginner friendly and really explain to you what this art tool is about, what one you want. And if you need to know more about fan brushes, guess what? That video is there for you to watch. My moderators will share the link with you, and you can totally click over after this is over if you're like, I need to brush up on some of those fan skills. So that's what they are. Anything in this size range will work. Lots of sizes, lots of different brands and brushes. Anything like that will work. We're using stiff filaments tonight. We're also using student grade paints. No, this is a student grade paint line. I'm about to have a whole moment, John.
Oh, yeah. Have a moment. Do you need to be muted while you're having your moment? Okay.
It's a blind moment.
We won't look at you.
It's going to be a makeup moment in a minute. Like if I come back with my raccoon eyes, y'all know what happened.
I will know in a second.
Okay.
You ready to look?
I think so. Let's find out. Oh, okay, it's not that bad. You know what? I would still, if it was still like, I would still teach.
I would just give you a touch up with some acrylic.
So this is a student line of paint. It is economic, but I am fussy, and I have to tell you, this is the one I do happen to recommend because it's high quality.
It really is good.
It is a good paint, and oh my goodness, there is something in my eye.
It's an eyeball.
Here, look at the inside of my eye.
Look at the end of my eye.
Put away. I'm going to have to pull my eye.
All right, I'm going to mute her so that she can go through this experience quietly. In case you hear shrieking in the background, that's just her rubbing her eye out.
Oh, my goodness. This one's bad.
Are you okay?
I mean, like, it was like you the other night. Remember when you come
I know.
You're like, I got something in my eye. I'm about to fall over. There'll be no mascara left by the time I'm done. Okay, I'm going to try. Struggling on because this is YouTube and it's alive, and if we should take anything seriously in this world, it's a YouTube live.
If we need to, we can take our 3-minute break early.
I mean, my goodness, we might have to. So I have this particular one is cadmium yellow deep hue, and I do the cadmium yellow deep because I found their primary yellow, which was the other cadmium yellow hue, just a bit light for my taste, and so that's why I switched to that. This is purple. It would be dioxazine purple. If you're painting along from our regular color palette, it would be cadmium and dioxazine purple. We have a little ultramarine blue. That's a pretty familiar color, right? That's a color you're going to have in most art kits. This is primary blue, but guess what blue it really is? Dun, 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 dun. It is phthalo blue. I know that because it's PV15. So that's phthalo blue. I check my pigment codes. This package has seen some hard times, but it's still got good squishy paint in it. It's burnt sienna. I like these packages because they keep Mars black. Got a little, just to warm my browns up, a little cad red. And then this particular one is cadmium red light hue. And that you could do, but cadmium red medium would be fine. And lastly, phthalo green. Not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Now I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine blue, and I'm going to put it out to sketch with.
While you're putting it out, can I ask you something about that?
Anything you want to ask me, you can ask me.
Do you know where you can get some of that acrylic paint?
Oh my goodness, so many places. For sure, Dick Blick has it. For sure, Jerry's Artorama carries it. You can find it on Amazon. King's Framing and Art in Canada carries it. Jackson's Art in the UK carries it. Many of your local art stores will carry it because this brand, you guys are probably not all into the kind of cool art stuff, but this is a company called Senlier, and it's one of the oldest art houses in the world, and they make fine artist pigments. In fact, they are the art brand of the Impressionists.
Much to our chagrin, that last R is silent, but we in our American tongues like to say Senlier.
Well, or everyone from the south of France, at which point Pierre just started laughing. Carcassonne! Okay, so Carcassonne. Okay, so that's a French joke if you live in France. Because I don't teach French language speaking, but yes, Senlier. The R is silent.
That's right.
I did it correctly. Senlier. Still going to chant Carcassonne because it's the coolest in the universe.
Lady Carcass, come out and play.
One of my very favorite, probably not true stories, but then I also like to pack the loose, so I'm there. All right. Things you don't need to know. This
Tell us
company is a
about
very fine art company, and most of your local art stores will carry their fine art watercolors, pastels, oils, pigments, and acrylics. And they are carrying this. This brand is taking off. It is really hot right now. So you should be able to find it lots and lots and lots of places.
They come from France,
They come from France,
much like the cone heads.
much like the cone heads. I'm going to take just a big brush and kind of take my watercolors words here, and I'm going to put these into the universe. And, you know, the act of wishing is really this. The act of wishing is just being optimistic. Right? We're just being a little optimistic. And we're sort of optimistic with our white canvas whenever we started, especially when you're new to painting. And it's easy. It's hard to be an optimistic human sometimes, isn't it?
Eye controlling.
I'm just sort of making sure the canvas isn't too wet. Just a little thing. Now,
Oh,
this brush here is an Art Sherpa cat's tongue. Dun, dun, dun. But you could use a round or a bright or a flat. You just want a brush that you have control over that gives you an edge that you can sketch with.
So, if someone asks you, "Cat, got your tongue?" You say, "No, I got their
Its
tongue."
Slightly, if you imagine this is the center of the canvas, slightly off center, and oh gosh, about a third of the way down. That's 4 fingers on me. I found that my fingers are not an entirely accurate measurement system because there are people who are a different size than me. So,
They happen.
you know, if you're like, oh, I have very long hands that play piano, you might have to like have less fingers. But it's really kind of just above a third if that's the halfway mark. And I could measure it for you exactly and not make you guess by my astounding. It's just under 3 inches, or right at a little over 7 centimeters for the rest of the world on the metric system. So we're going to make just a little short line. Gosh, that's a friendly little thing. And we're doing it with paint because it's blue and this will blend into what's going on. Now up here, not all the way to the top of the canvas, I'm going to make a little mark.
Make a little mark.
And then I'm going to paint a hill. It's going to come down to that line. That's the top. Over here, I'm going to come down a bit further and I'm going to make another little mark. And I'm going to make kind of more of a butte kind of hill here. You've painted the top of a mountain. Well, or at least outlined it. It can be nice to take this time to sort of let yourself know where things are going to be. So I'm going to come down with my blue. Look at this. I'm going to go straight down a bit. What? Yeah.
Because gravity do that.
Well, gravity does that. And the rocks around the fall tend to be a little bit dark. So you can help yourself with that information there. Now, way, almost like above the little halfway line, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a line that's going to come down. Notice that my line is not smooth. This is not a rolling hill. This is a rock-based hill. I come over to the right side at the halfway mark. Come down like that. Now, also, interestingly enough, there are some interior rocks that you can bring down. And I'll come up just a little bit high on this one and bring that there. So there we have some interior rocks. And I can paint these blue. And the only reason I'm painting these blue with my ultramarine blue paint, guys, is just to help me remember where the layers of the rocks are in this canyon where the waterfall is falling.
Now, when you're done blocking that in, could I get some bubble action? Because I got some.
Guess what I just finished doing?
What'd you do?
It's bubble time because I finished this really crazy, weird little blue line sketch, which hopefully you finished too, and I'm going to turn around and bubble it just a little bit.
So while you're doing your bubble dance, I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to say thank you. Where'd it go? We have a lot of thank yous to get because it was so.
Like I said, don't teach dancing. I'm not the sergeant or master. The martial guy that can dance.
This is good because Dana says thanks for keeping stuff groovy, and you're definitely keeping it groovy.
Gotta be groovy.
And so
groovy.
Mobile Life Training says, hey, awesome sticker, and sends a little workout pair, sending a little celebration, which I think that is like very Mobile Life Training brand on. So I think that's cool. And then...
Because there's a thing we have called the Big Art Quest, which is a big long year art class.
With pairs.
That we call, they were pairs because they had to paint some pairs at the beginning.
And then Sheila Harvey with the $, which I think is the Australian. So she must be from down under. So her little patronage has a pair giving you a cup of coffee.
I'm gonna sip my frog cup that matches the frog necklace because I'm thematic.
I'm going to say thank you to all of our wonderful patrons and all of the people out there giving us the emojis and the support and the thumbs up and the likes and the shares. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, you know what I have to say? No.
Thank
you so much. I'm coming right over.
Are you?
No.
Don't do that.
Don't worry. I can't leave the TV and go into your home. I'm safely contained in the box.
But the box kind of moves around.
No. Oh, sweetie. People on small screens, remember?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
We sometimes get some notes about motion because we get goofy.
Because I forget.
Breathe deep.
Because it's
this stage of the surface.
Don't do these kinds of things.
I come from a land down under. Sorry. All right.
Okay.
Don't send me hate mail. I could not do it. Okay, I just want to say that this stage of the painting, I really want you to be relaxed.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Your hills can be a little higher, a little lower. You're just going to want to have them be generally what you see here. Just generally that, because this is a sketch. It's just a beginning. We've got a lot to do, and you don't have to worry about being a little bit off. Take a deep breath. Hopefully you've laughed a little bit and relaxed a little bit, and you remember, oh yeah, art is fun. Art's okay. It's okay. I'm good.
Okay.
All right? Because that's what you got to remember, that you're good. There's all these cords underneath me. If I go down, that's what happened.
It was
the
cables.
Cords. It was the cords. Now I'm going to put out a little of my phthalo blue. And I like to mix these two blues against each other sometimes. They do a nice job playing against each other. This blue, when you add white to it, tends to be a little bit more purple. And that blue, the phthalo blue, when you add a little white to it, tends to be a little more turquoise. That's why sometimes you might pick two blues, and these are both with this company, the paints are super reasonable. So, especially for the amounts. Ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, titanium white. And this is a very fun chill part. I'm going to take this cat's tongue and I'm going to get some white on it. And I'm going to prime up my canvas with white. This is not something you always have to do. And you should do it fairly quickly because you're going to want the paint to be wet. Not dripping wet, not making puddles, just a thin film on your surface that still has that wet sheen to it, if you guys can see that. That's all you're going for. Because what you're going to do is you're going to make a very nice light sky blue. But sometimes if you have a little bit of that white there, and you do these sweeping downward little brush strokes, it can help kind of make it look like there's a little bit of a cloud system going. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
Now the trick to this will be stop early. What'll happen to you if you're really new to painting is sometimes you will go, I don't know if it's right, and then you'll paint over it, and you'll go, I don't know if it's right, and you'll keep painting over it, and you might miss some of your cloud effect. If that happens, you can always come back with a little bit of blue while it's all still wet and maybe make some loose adjustments. The trick of that is to be painterly, and you want to avoid having very straight strokes like this. You want to be more like this. See how those are loose, curved, one direction strokes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that's done. Guess who gets to learn how to make yellow ochre from scratch? It's not really yellow ochre. It's a yellow ochre dupe.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to say thank you to Sarah, who says, thank you so much for being you, Sherpa.
Thank you. I appreciate that you appreciate me the way that I am.
We're going to come back and bubble celebrate Sarah later. We're going to do more bubble celebrations a little later.
Oh, okay.
We can do them now, but I just figured you were in the middle of doing some paint stuff.
I am?
So, yeah, we'll get some more in a little bit.
Okay, we'll do some in the next breaking station. Yep. We'll celebrate with all of you.
I just want to say
just a break. So now the color that I have a bunch of this, right, which is yellow ochre. But the reason I'm going to mix it is I'm using paint from my 11-piece palette set, which I have on my Acrylic April store. And it's just 11 paints. That way you're not having to buy more and more paints. That is the only reason why, if you have yellow ochre, just use that. But I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna over to my cad yellow. And when I add white, it's a pretty okay dupe. Dupe means like a duplicate, but it's not really just the exact same thing. And I'm going to come here. I'm going to just come along that little mountain. And I may paint over a little bit of my blue. And again, it doesn't have to be a cat's tongue. That's not required. And it's okay if it's a little bit streaky because these hills have iron deposits and mineral deposits. And when it rains, they get these beautiful sort of watercolor effects down the side of the mountain. So it's almost good when your paint is streaking. You're going to paint the other side in that color too. And weirdly enough, in this piece, it's almost great to not use yellow ochre pigment because the streaking is so in your favor. Now, yellow ochre is not the same as this. This is a hue, not a pigment. And there are some differences in how they perform. But for the purposes of our one hoop painting, it is not critical. Let's make sure everybody who got a quarantine kit still has something to do. Because we tried to make sure everybody had some art supplies over the strongest part of the quarantine. Which we may be back in again in a minute. I don't know. I am in no way an expert or pretending to be one. I don't know anything. I literally just check the website. That's what I do. I check the website. What are we doing today? All right. Are we ready to bubble?
I am certainly ready to bubble.
Are you ready to bubble? I'm ready to bubble. I'm ready to sip some water out of my frog and bubble. Look at us. We already have mountains. Mountains? We painted them? We did.
So Amy said, so first of all, I'm going to go scroll back up here before I get to Amy's comment. I want to say thank you to Sarah. Thank you for the support. Thank you to all of our patrons and everybody out there giving the likes and the comments and subscribes and the shares and all the YouTubery. Oh, and those emojis. El Mandise Mohammed, awesome grouping of emojis. So
awesome grouping of emojis. You have won an emoji, sir. I made an assumption there, but still I go with it.
Bonnie's got a whole bunch of them out there too, so lots
of
good emojis. Okay, so Amy said, seriously, that kit was such a blessing. Thank you so much for putting that together, Cinnamon, and lots of emoji hearts. So thank you for those.
I am so glad that was helpful. That really blew my mind when the whole world just sold out of paint. I didn't even know that could happen. I was as shocked as everybody else. I was like, you can sell out of all of it? How much do they make? I just assumed more than was made that could ever be used. So that I was like really, really surprised. I'm really glad that our that Sennelier is so committed to making sure that artists around the world are able to paint. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
No, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Okay, let's do it.
So this is going to have a little bit of a dry, and we'll come back and do a second coat. The reason that we're going to do this in 2 coats is yellows tend to be very transparent and streaky. And you at home are going to over-obsess on the streakiness of your paint. Like at this point, I lean into it. It's a feature. But you're going to really, really see it and notice it. And you may have a yellow that's different in mine and it's not covering as well. So by doing 2 coats, I'm not just making sure my canvas comes out okay, but I'm making sure the canvas I can't see that's yours at home, it has a better chance of coming out okay. Because sometimes the differences in pigments can really mess up a bit what we're doing. I'm going to add some purple to the mix. Purple, which is really dioxazine purple. Because it's PV23. I mean, it's not exactly, but basically.
You get it.
For the purposes of this, I went through and tried all their paints and then just picked out the closest approximations to the palette that I most commonly paint with. So I just kind of did that to make sure that we were all good there.
Now, will this video remain up after this?
Absolutely. I'm going to take a mix of purple and blue together. I'm going to come back here. In this very deep crevice. And make kind of a little dark hill. Yeah, we do keep these absolutely up. Add a little white to my purple and blue mix because I want some streaky here too. Not too much, just enough to like, oh, I think some things happen there. With a little more blue this time. Still very streaky. See how streaky?
Very streaky.
And you want that streakiness. You want it because that makes it feel like the layering of those two mountains. We'll leave that for just a second. And we're going to make some orange, which red and yellow make orange. And I'm going to get a little of my burnt sienna. And I'm going to paint this hill with that base run of color. Just pulling down in a long stroke. And again, you can see because I'm loosely mixed, I'm getting lots of streaks. That is the secret of the streak. Well, the kind of streaking we do on our show. You don't do the other kind. It's not that kind of channel. We don't do the other kind. Anyone notice I'm in a really weird space today? Really weird space. That's what we're doing. We're just trying to get that watercolor effect of the hills. And it's okay when the blue and the brown kind of get together like this. That's okay. We don't mind. We don't mind at all. We're just getting that first coat in, right? Making that canvas. When you paint with student paints, you will do less direct painting where it's a one and done brush stroke on your canvases. You'll have multiple layers. Not worse, nothing wrong with it. It's just the nature of the product. That's all you're always dealing with is the nature of the product. I don't know why I'm in the I've been like kind of holiday songs today. Very strange day for me. I have to tell you. Maybe it's too much Netflix. I get on Netflix and I get very concerned about everything.
Netflix has so much.
It has so much going on. And then, there's all my Korean comedies and there's a lot happening. I just did Two Worlds, which was like, I don't know, a big blockbuster with tons of special effects. But the movie really tripped me out, John. So it had a lot of that cool kind of Matrix vibey feel, right? And the idea was that this really lovely man who'd spent his life like dying and living and working for others and whose last act was to die to save a child.
Yeah.
Right? He was being tested in the afterlife and it felt like everybody was mad at him for everything. Like he was the best and he got like this special ticket, but he still had to be like judged in all these different like places. And I just felt like if this is how mad they are at him and he's lovely, the rest of us are in a lot of trouble. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, in the Matrix, as long as you just didn't wake up, you were okay. I'm going to get a little more of my blue and purple. The trick there was don't come to. I'm making this hill just a little bit darker. All right, I'll take a little of my blue and a little white, and this one just not that much lighter. Oh my goodness. But just a smidge lighter so that they feel like they're separate little canyon walls. Now that's done. They're going to feel like separate little canyon walls. And we like those. Now, the hill. Let's go back to our yellow ochre. Do we remember how to do it? The yellow ochre, the cad yellow, and the burnt sienna. I'm quizzing you.
So the answer to that question is no. I do not know the answer to the question. I was not paying attention in class.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't even know
this
a
is
hill
all
was
here
an
to
option.
quiz you, John.
See,
pulling this down in a nice streaky way. You know, I'm going to come back up maybe like all of the yellow streaking. See how we're getting some streaks? Get some streaks. That's lovely. This one is a little more exposed to the sun and has a tendency during this time of day to be a little lighter than its partner on the other side of the fall. If you haven't looked at the collection of paintings, famous paintings that have been done in the national parks, you really should. There's some extraordinary inspiration out there. Now we're just painting this down. Let me know when it's bubble time.
oh, let me see here. Bubbles.
Also, we can just bubble for no reason.
We can. There's a any nonsense time bubble.
There is. I feel like there is. Well, this is still wet. We're going to finish a couple of our streaks because we got to streak some of this while it's still wet. So I'm going to take a bit of my brown, maybe some of my red. And I'm going to come up from the bottom.
Okay.
And just make sure that there's some brown and red in there. You know, might maybe like this time a little more yellow. Just painting that streaky little rundown. It's okay that the blue got in there because I was going to put blue up here anyways. So on this one, if you do pick up a little bit of the blue, don't worry. The only thing I'm going to watch is I do want the top of my mountain to be kind of light. I'll come back here and fix that with a little bit of a light color, just floating down, pulling it down. Wet into wet is my friend. And remember, I can come back in, and if I mess up any of my mountaintops, I don't have to worry. I'm going to get a little of my ultramarine blue and come here and add some other streaks of the different mineral deposits that tend to run down. And again, if I've got to come over my line to get a nice little stroke on my streak, that's okay. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just randomly placing. I'm not making stripes. They're not like candy stripes. Can you guys see how they're kind of like just discolorations? I'm going to come in with my purple. Maybe a little white. Definitely near the fall with more purple. It's okay to add some of those streaks coming out. Definitely. Now this purple, I'm going to bring it out a little bit further than you'd expect. And the reason being is this fall has an interrupt or disrupt that causes some of the water to do a very unusual thing where it goes to the right. And I want to have some nice discoloration or patina where that happens. But you can see I'm still leaving the streak. That's a really lovely streak today.
Mm.
Sometimes you just nail the streak. Sometimes you just nail it and you're like, oh, that's real good. Now I'm going to grab a little of my ultramarine, phthalo blue, and purple. I'm trying to avoid using black. I'm darkening with other colors if I can. And that is because, black is actually really rare in nature. Deep pitch black. And it's a very powerful landscape tool. Some teachers will absolutely demand that beginner students not use it in any way. I'm not as stringent on that with my students because I feel like as long as you understand what black is for and what it can do, you can easily avoid those mistakes that can happen. So now we're building that structure for the fall. Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's bubble. I think we need a bubble break.
We definitely need a bubble break because Patty just dropped some bubble love on you.
Patty.
Bubble love. And there's lots of awesome emojis that are floating by.
Emojis.
I like all the emojis and the likes and the comments. There's lots of good likes.
I like the kitty in the box with the heart.
Oh yes, I saw that one come by.
I love the kitty in the box with the heart. This is my favorite. I read the comments after. Why am I dancing tonight?
I don't know. You're feeling dancy.
I'm weird.
It's your show.
It's your show.
Well,
I blame you tonight. It's not my show. It's his show.
Okay. It's my show.
It's his.
It's my dancey dance show. Well, if we can get the rest of the Yo Gabba Gabba crew to come on, this will be my show.
Okay. Truth. Confessional time. Are you guys ready? I really liked Gabba Gabba. Yo Gabba Gabba, I thought was an amazing show. It really spoke to me. There's a party in my tummy. So yummy. So yummy. Don't hit your friends. Or is it don't bite your friends? It was it's good advice.
Yeah.
Don't hit or bite your friends.
Don't do any of that stuff.
Don't do that. No. I really actually may have left Yo Gabba Gabba on longer than was necessary for my own peace of mind. Any other Yo Gabba Gabba fans out there?
Yes.
Or do I stand alone in a field of crickets?
We definitely have a handful of them out here.
Oh, good. Because that was such a cute and wonderful show. And it just was creative and innovative and remember H.R. Puffin stuff? I think that's the Land of the Lost. Those two were kind of the closest to that vibe that I had, Captain Kangaroo was pretty wild, though, too. That was strange. I rewatched Captain Kangaroo, and I was like, it's very different than I remember it. So, all right, you guys ready to do the next hill?
Definitely.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Sherpas.
Yeah, but I don't sing, so.
But you are singing.
So here's what I don't sing well is what I should say. I sing. I don't sing well. And that isn't a reason to not sing. I enjoy it, and it is an expression of being happy, I feel. Just like painting and coloring is an expression of being happy. And I don't want to not do it because I'm not even going to say the best at it because we're way past that. I'm using my red and yellow mix at the top of my hills to start my little streak. But I think sometimes we avoid things we love because we don't excel at it. Like really, really excel. And sometimes it's just nice to sing around the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. I'm going to grab some of my burnt sienna. I'm going to come up from the bottom into my orange. I want to make sure that these streaks going up into the orange are uneven. I don't want them to all be the same length. So some should be quite tall, like this one on the right I'm taking up quite tall. And that's just to help it feel like it's natural runoff that's happening. You don't have to worry too much about this zone because there's a lot of bush and tree in front of it. There's so many bushes and trees. It's kind of like putting that really cool rock poster over the hole you left in your wall. There's going to be a lot of trees. It's going to cover it up. So you don't got to worry about it. Like at least one person did that. Put a poster over a hole in the wall so their parents didn't see. I had a friend growing up that she and her brother fought quite a lot, and there were so many posters on their walls, you would have thought they were super big fans. I mean, they were. But actually, it was just they fought a lot. But they didn't want their mom and dad to know there was that much damage. So they collected a lot of posters. Well, you go pulling at that paper.
You gotta do it.
It was going to be a thing, right? It was going to be a thing. Now, I'm also going to come in with a little bit of blue in my burnt sienna here. And just streak a little bit of that up as well. Not too much. Just enough to make some very deep, dark streaks in our hill. See the deep, dark streaks giving it shape? Now, hopefully John is zooming in. Zoom in.
Well, right now I'm just kind of staying back because you got a lot of streakiness, and this is, you're doing big strokes right now.
Big strokes.
This is what we call that the underminer. No.
The underminer.
Yes.
Oh. My mind is just a mishmash of TV shows and songs.
Yes, it is.
It's just, woo. Let's change our water. If your water is this dirty, let's see if we can get a camera shot of the water, Jeff. If your water is this dirty, you really need to change it. Because if it is, your colors will start to dull. That's no fun. Right? Mm-hmm. That's no fun when your colors dull. Now, I'm going to do a fun thing. I'm going to take a teeny tiny fan. All right. This one is, I kind of demoed this one. This is a number 2 bristle fan, a hog bristle fan. If you want to compare it to, say, my number 6. So you just want a smaller fan. Or you can work the edge, or you can use a bright on a dry brush. So there's a lot of ways to get through this. I'm going to get just a little bit of moisture on my fan, just a titch. I'm going to go ahead and loosely mix some light color and start to come over here to the side. And what I do is the handle is towards me, over here towards the right. The brush isn't totally perpendicular, but it's closer to perpendicular. I'm on the edge of these bristles. And I'm just making some splash water that is coming off that's rough. You can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Need a little more white. You can always come up on the edge to get this kind of a nice sharp line, right? But if you want that where it's sort of skipping and showing what's underneath, it's a very nice way to get it. I'm going to work just enough space to paint this right here to get the top of the fall. A little bit like that fun fall I did that one time. A little bit like that. Now I'm going to take this brush and just a little bit of white. See how it's kind of streaky and not that heavy on the brush?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come here on the corner of my little brush, of my bristles. And where it's even kind of wet here, it might lift up, right? We're going to make a little bit of foam. So it's a slightly circular motion. Just a little bit of foam. Look at that. A little bit of misty mist. You need a little more water on your brush. You can. Make sure that it's not soaking. And we might want to do a little bit of that kind of misty mist here. You want just less is more in this case. See how we're going to put some misty mist up here? And it's about not the paint's very thin. And you can really see how I'm just working the corner load. We learned about that last night, right? Corner loads.
Yep.
Then we come onto the edge, the toe of the brush. Now we painted the 2 zones of mist. It's so misty. And guess what we get to do next?
What's that?
Oh, wait, clouds.
Clouds.
Same brush. Same brush. I have a cloud brush. But I'm going to show you how you can do cloud with your fan brush. So it's loaded on both sides on the edge. I come in, I sweep kind of to the left and then the right. Just a couple little strokes. See, because it just gives us a few little clouds, doesn't it? And then I can come in and push up. These are like the little high desert horsetail clouds that you will sometimes get in the upper atmosphere. So clouds don't always have to be round cumulus shapes. Sometimes clouds are these wonderful shapes. I have to dry my canvas now.
Okay.
And then we'll do a bubble dance.
All right. We would like the bubble dances. While she's doing that, we'll look over there. And don't forget to not use any heat if possible when drying your surface because it does not like the heat. Those paints, they don't like it very much. It can cause all sorts of color shift and other unusual things that you don't want to have happen. So just don't use it on heat. Use it on the coolest setting and you'll be in the best shape. So, I see lots of folks are having 4th of July celebrations this weekend. Congratulations to everybody who's going out and seeing family and doing stuff, watching movies. That's going to be lots of fun. So, yeah, bubble time.
Bubble goofs.
Ready, bubble?
Have I run everybody off yet?
You have not run anybody off. We
you
keep
guys are
more
so
and more
nice.
And more and more and more. So thank you guys for joining us. There's lots of folks that are doing weekend festivities.
Oh, yeah, because it's the 4th of July.
It is the July of the 4th.
July of the 4th.
We're all celebrating.
It is the day that we escaped an alien invasion with
or
an update.
It could be July 1st.
We defended ourselves with an update.
But this weekend you could also be celebrating July 1st if you're Canadian because it's the weekend.
Is it still going?
It's the weekend.
All right, that's true.
We just had the first.
Canada Day.
It's very long Canadian
Canada
Day
weekend.
It's a 5
why not,
day.
Right?
It's like a 5 days Canada Day
Get
weekend.
out, take a walk, see the
6 days.
park. Bring your bear bell.
Which is Metallica, I guess?
Huh?
Metallica?
Yeah.
Is that your bear bell?
That is somebody's. That could have gone so bad. If you guys don't know, a woman defended herself from a wild animal with Metallica. And the wild animal did decide to do something else, but that was really a toss-up about halfway through. I was thinking, it was a cat. This cat might leave because the Metallica is annoying it, or it might jump on her because the Metallica. Either way with wild animals. So it was a lucky bet on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, big cats. Watch your small cat with a little red dot and then make your cat much, much bigger. Your cat loves you, but he doesn't love you that much. He's that much bigger than you.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be like, run, human. And then you'd be like, here's my giant cucumber. Sorry.
Where'd you go?
I'm right here. I don't know where I went. Do you know where I went? I've got this little bristle number 2 fan, right? I'm going to come here and make some highlights on this mist up here. See how I just barely touch it?
I do.
This is a corner load. I'm loading mostly the corner. And I'm just catching some stuff.
No, see, the Canadians were very respectful and polite, and they kept the celebration to just the one day on Wednesday.
That's so Canadian.
Unless
it's hockey season, and then I got to tell you, whatever you ever thought was Canadian does not apply to hockey season.
No, there are beards and high sticks everywhere.
Yeah. I'm going to take a bright here. I want to get a nice crisp edge at the top. This right here. I think that's a nice look. And I'm going to come down and give this waterfall just a bit of a highlight. A couple places where the water is very light. I don't want to take my blues away. I just want to highlight the water a bit. And if you want, you can even kind of very lightly. Notice how very lightly I'm touching my brush. And I'm pushing, and there's a bit of a circle. The paint isn't loaded too thick. That's what's happening. I know it looks like magic brush, do magic things, but it's actually just this. It works really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wash out this. You don't want to leave paint on your brush. And remember, the number one thing you can do to save money in your painting experience is wash your brushes after every painting session. Now, this is my number 4 round. You could absolutely use my number 6, which I have around here as well. Right? Oh, that's just a different one, but it's about the same size. You could use this as well. You could use this. See, these are all stiff. I like a small one and a kind of medium-sized one. And this is the one time I'm going to put out a little bit of black. And the reason I'm going to put out a little bit of black is because when you're doing this type of pine tree, you want contrast. You're going to want a very deep value and then some highlights on it so that you can see the leaves catching the light. A quick way of doing that is to take a little bit of black and green together. And again, I'm using my number 4. And I'm going to come up here above my mountain on the right-hand side. Brush is maybe handle up a little bit. Tapping up and down, that's the stipple. Making kind of the top of the tree. High handle goes down. And I touch, see, just with the edge there, making that little bit at the beginning of the pine. A little bit of this to the right and left. A little bit to the right and left. Let's go to the left. Let's go to the right. And now we're going to get on the edge. Handle slightly up. Stippling up and down. Sweeping back and forth. This tree can be all the way to the edge. It can be in a little bit from the edge. I'm going to keep it not too thick. It'll be the thickest down here at the base. And I do want it to be solid towards the center. You can always kind of come in and solidify the center if you need to. I like these little bits of leaves that pop out because they're going to be what I highlight. And as I get near the bottom, all right, I'll move this forward. As I come near the bottom, I'm going to start taking the brush, and maybe if I put it on the side here, this will be a little easier for me to show you. I'm going to start doing some little curved bushes. I'm tapping up and down. The brush handle is more parallel to my canvas, and I'm getting just that fan imprint texture, just a little bit. It is really dark, so it's a texture that you mostly see in the brush stroke. It's going to come together when we do the bushes. He needs a little tree friend. He needs a tree friend. This tree friend should be shorter, man. So we're going to come right here, stippling up and down, kind of on the corner maybe. A little bit back and forth. Back and forth. Can you hear it? Tap, 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 tap. So handle is either straight to me or slightly up. The more upward the handle is, the more the branches will have kind of a sweep up. The more downward the handle is, the more the branches will go down. And if you're trying to do this sort of like national forest, fine. And then as we come down, I can kind of blend in the bushes. And they'll come across here. And you can see I'm just really pressing this brush down. See that?
Yeah.
It makes a really, if you like ASMR, this is like your favorite technique. It does make a delicious noise. I'm going to dip in just a little bit. I do not want my brush to be soaking. If it gets too wet, it will throw off the technique. And then also watch the load. See how it's creeping up the brush?
Yeah.
So if you need to, kind of give it a reload. Sometimes it'll do that because the capillary nature of the brush. Let's make a tall tree. Not maybe as tall as this one, but still tall. See, I'm just tipping that corner in. And then I can come here and be like, little, little, little. And then as I get down more into where the trunk can take it, engage more of the fan. Pressing medium hard to get this soft tree look. Flip the brush over. If you're running out of paint, try to get the other side of paint. Might as well get it out there, right? Nice. Conifer. Conifer. And then as I come down here, I'm going to try to catch what I can. Darkening this part of the forest floor. Making sure it's sort of solid, but also has that loose thing that only a fan brush does of loose leaves that could be there. Are you guys kind of tripping on your fans?
I am.
See, you just know when I do a big technique lesson like that, I got something planned.
This is pretty cool.
It is a lot of fun. I'll be putting this out more than once. I'm sure. Got one more little tree to do. This tree's he's shorter than his friend here, so he's just like, he's like the new kid on the block. I think this one is the new kid on the block. He just got here. You know, he's a youngster that's got plans. He's grown above the bushes below. He's made it out into the light. He's gonna be one of the big statesmen someday. But today, he's just the little one that the other trees are taking care of. Because they do that, you know. They work together in little groupings and little units to protect each other. And so this is a little family of trees.
This is pretty cool.
Now, to get a nice exaggeration, I'm going to dry this.
All right.
Because I don't really want the black to dull my yellow too much.
Okay. So there she is, drying that, and that won't take, I don't think, too long. She just wants to make sure that it's thoroughly dry so that when she comes and puts the next layer of green on there and white on there, that it doesn't pick up any of the black and make it muddy or streaky. And so it just takes a little quick dry, and you can see there that as it changes that sheen, you can see that it's got a skin over it.
Yeah, now it's darkened. It's definitely done its color shift. I'm going to get some clean water again. I'm about here, and I'm going to just change it out again because this will help me have brighter greens and yellows that I'm going to want to have. I'm going to, see, my brush was still dirty.
Ooh.
Got to vigorously wash it out. There you go. So sometimes that'll happen. If you see it, catch it early and you'll be fine. As long as you catch it, you'll be okay. And even if you don't catch it, it'll be okay. It's just paint. It's just paint. All right. I'm going to load up with some a little green, some nice yellow, and I'm going to have this a bit loosely mixed. I do sometimes like to tip with a bit of white in there so that there's some highlights. And let's come to the top, up and down. Back and, back and forth. And I'm going to focus this highlight more on this interior side of the tree on the inside left over the right, kind of trying to imply coming down the valley, there's more light there. It's not that none of it gets to the other side of the tree. It does, but I like to focus it. I don't want to paint out every bit of my dark color. And as I come down, I will darken my green a bit. It will be brighter than what's underneath it, but it will start to, darken up. And then we're going to come here and maybe talk about, see, this is the top of some bushes. Some deep green there. I'm going to take my brush on the edge and make some little bushes. I don't want to remove everything. I just want to show some highlights there. Let's come here. And again, more on the side that is to the left. And you'll notice like that side of the hill again tends to be a little bit lighter. And its partner on the other side. So we're just paying attention. We're actually observing real lighting effects that happen, and we're painting it in this sort of technique process. Come here. Rocking the handle down, tipping the top of the tree. And I will focus this one a little more. I didn't want it to have a little more yellow than what I have on there, so I just come in and get a little more. It's not a big deal. It still has a little bit on both sides, but I do want it to be and then I kind of curve that down there. Little size of bushes, right?
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful little stippling effect. How are we feeling? Do we have any urgent fan questions?
Oh, let's see. You scroll over here. I was seeing everyone was really having a nice little chat out here. There was lots of questions about Sherpa soap, where the Sherpa soap is, how to use Sherpa soap for different things like cleaning, like your shirts or your shop towels or all sorts of things, and it gets paint out of remarkably
a lot of stuff.
So, and to answer the question, generally you just rub some Sherpa soap on directly whatever you've got the stain on, and it now we're
People
not
have just reported getting some amazing stuff out of their clothes. Hot water, warm water is always helpful. Right? Warm water is helpful, and you do. Over here where it kind of got away from me, I gotta.
Now, at the point you're using Sherpa soap, be warned that it could remove other pigments in the garment. So it is the end-all be-all cleaner of pigment soap. So just test it in a little corner before you go crazy, because it, especially if you have any home-dyed stuff, it'll suck that right out too.
It will clean your thing.
It will clean that soap.
It will clean your shirt. It will clean your brush.
It will. All
right, look at that. What do we paint?
Wow.
We painted a canyon. It's a lot like the other canyon we had an example photo. Shall we go forward and do some bubbles? Because we did it.
Do some bubbles.
We painted a painting. Did it together at night. We painted a painting. If you've known me for a while, I'm like pretty clear during the day, but at night I'm like, woo!
You just get silly.
I do.
That's
Put my water in the silly frog.
And Patty says, thank you for the amazing trees and sending some patron support. We love it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the support, guys. It's wonderful to have you guys out here with us.
If you haven't thought to do it already, be sure and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you get notified when we're doing these lessons. We are live Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Yo, Gabba Gabba Math.
Yo, Gabba Gabba Math. And then it's pretty much I don't know, maybe my math is more Blue's Clues.
You got to go find the math and then solve the problem.
And get a clue. Use a strategy.
You have no clues.
Gabba Gabba would tell me that I can do math and to believe in myself.
It's true.
And there'd be dance. Saturdays, we are live 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific. And on Saturdays, we're going to be doing the class that takes these skills and kicks them up a notch. So if you'd like to see how you'd take these skills and turn them into a more realistic landscape painting, that's a really fantastic day to show up. Sometimes we're live on other days with technique pieces, and sometimes we drop technique or tip videos or something fun or weird, or who knows whatever's going on in our studio. That
sign it. Sign it.
I gotta sign it.
You gotta sign it.
And if you're into watercolors, come by Wednesdays on Facebook for Watercolor Wednesdays, where we do a live watercolor class. You're like, I like how you taught this, but I'm into watercolors. Good. You come by Friday. We got you.
All right.
I'm going to use a blue. I do try to use colors in my signature. This is a #1 monogram liner.
Yep.
And this is the brush I do like to sign my paintings with. This is by Silver Brush Limited, and it is in their Ruby Satin line. Short handle #1. And I just like that brush very much. There we go. Who's coming back tomorrow?
Oh, everyone's coming back tomorrow. They want to know what all you're doing tomorrow.
So tomorrow I am painting a fall that is in Yellowstone. That's very similar to this. And it's actually the Grand Canyon of in Yellowstone, and it's got lots of gorgy stuff happening. So very similar techniques, similar iron deposits, lots of trees, more of a vista. More of that landscape that you're looking at, the big, broad, epic landscape. We're going to paint it with professional paints, more colors, more techniques, and we're going to do it a little more realistically. So if you're into that, you're going to love that day. Be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.